Hey everyone, GuardianE here with another live reaction and first impression video in Fire Emblem Heroes. Tonight we should be getting the new reveal trailer for the next set of special heroes, the new spring heroes that are going to be introduced into the game. We did get a preview silhouette of who the next set of bunnies are going to be in the game. The female silhouette does bear a strong resemblance to either Erica or an Ira, so those are two pretty common guesses. Me personally, I'd love to see another Palla in the game. That's my personal guess. Paula hasn't gotten a whole lot of representation, and last year for the Spring Banner, one of the White Wings did get their first seasonal, Katria, so wouldn't be totally unheard of or inconsistent for us to get another White Wing in this batch. It also might be kind of nice to get a Cordelia, another Cordelia alt to complete Cordelia emblem. But theories aside, I'm pretty excited for this. The Spring Banner was the very first, it's pretty momentous because it's the first seasonal banner that was ever introduced in Fire Emblem Heroes, was the Spring Banner from 2 years ago. So with any luck, we'll have the return of the other two seasonal Spring Banners simultaneously. With that, let's jump into the trailer and watch it together for the first time. Okay, here we go. I have to say I am pretty excited about this. The Spring Banner always has some wrench that they throw in there. So springtime is on its way. Oh, it looks... Is that... Oh, it's Paula! I see Paula and I see... Yes, it is Paula! Eldest Bun-Bun. Oh my god. Okay, they have Mayo doing the art for Paula. So not Kaboon, unfortunately, but Mayo does a great job. I do love Mayo's work. Pegasus Carrot, so she is a flyer. She's a red flyer. Oh, nice. So a red dagger user. Okay, Crimson Rabbit.
If this outfit isn't good for fighting, I'll have to hop away.
I love her deadpan inflection. Okay, so we're getting Marisa as a bunny, flashing carrot, so she is also going to be a flyer. Okay, so we are going to get Bruno, masked Hare.
It is a blessing of the spring season to be here with you.
Very nice. His garb very much like a Alphonse from last year. So avoid staff plus. So he's going to be a cavalry healer. Alright, what's the last one? I missed it. Okay, so Spring Princess. Wait, isn't that the third Spring Princess? Aren't there two other Spring Princesses? Okay, so Veronica is going to be the third. She is going to be a mage flyer. A green mage flyer, and she has that dual flying skill. I saw that already. Okay. Regal Rabbits is the paralog story. So this is a pretty stacked banner. A lot of interesting characters. Looks like, okay, it's just Loki. Wait, hold on. Back that up a little bit. Let's take another look at the map here. Because I thought I saw Loki, and I was like, oh, it's just Loki, but... Wait, it's Loki... Wait, it's Flying Loki. Why is there Flying Loki? It's Loki flying, and she's a flying archer on a wyvern. What? So they're adding a new Loki, but the weird thing about the weird thing about it is that it doesn't look like she's dressed as a bunny. I mean, it looks like she's just wearing her regular outfit, unless I'm missing something. Maybe there are details that I'm not seeing, but wow, okay, so we're going to get another Loki, apparently. That's kind of a surprise. It kind of fits the theme, certainly, of Bruno and Veronica. So that's not terribly, that's not inconsistent at all with the rest of the banner. But it doesn't look like she's wearing, like, a bunny outfit at all, but... And certainly I would have liked to have seen Loki in a bunny outfit, but that's beside the point. Looks like we're getting some even distribution of colors on this banner. If we take a look at the final screen here, the specials or heroes are here from the 19th, so starting in just a couple of days all the way until April 19th. So we are going to get a full month for these special heroes. There is going to be one of each color. I think some people might be a little upset at the gender diversity of the banner itself. There is only one male on it, that is Bruno. Sort of a mishmash of alternate heroes as well. Not, I would say, any of the diehard favorites, except maybe Veronica has gotten a lot of popularity recently. But the other heroes aren't outspoken hits, I would say. Certainly have their fan bases. I'm certainly a fan of Marisa and of Paula. And Bruno has his place as well. but it's nice to just see their representation. I mentioned in the intro that I would love to see a new Paula, and here she is, and she's a flyer as well. And something else I just want to note about the banner itself, no dragons and no armors. The Spring Banner historically has been caters more to flyers. Some of you will probably remember that the very first flying mage in the game was on the first Spring Banner. That was Spring Camilla. And going forward, there was Spring Kagro in the second banner. But it's always been heavily flyer-based, and you can always count on at least a couple of flying units in the banner itself. And that's what we got. So we got Marisa, who is a flying lancer, Palla, who is a flying red dagger unit, and Veronica, who is a green flying mage. And of course we have Bruno being a cavalry healer, which is a very, very potent combination, as we know. All right, so let's rewind and take another look. I'm excited. I want to see what these characters have, what they're bringing to the table. I'll also take another close look at the art. Like I said, for Paula, I was surprised that they didn't re-enlist Kaboon to do her art. But the art that she has here is pretty great from Mayo. It's very cheerful. Eldest Bun-Bun.
These ears never stay on straight, do they?
Yep. Alright. So let's pause here and take a look at her skill. So Pegasus Carrot Plus is 12 might weapon. Okay, so it's armor effective. That's always a good thing. If unit has weapon triangle advantage, neutralizes status effects and disables skills that prevent follow-up attacks during combat. Interesting. After combat, if unit attacked, grants or inflicts defense res -7. Yeah, and within 2 space. So defense res smoke, right. So that's just the default debuff that all daggers have. So for one thing, it's armor effective, which is definitely a positive. So the condition for her weapon effect is to have triangle advantage. She is a red dagger unit, so this is only going to apply to blues. If she has weapon triangle advantage, neutralizes status effects and disables skills that prevent follow-up attacks. So disabling, I mean, most notably, obviously the fighter skills, force follow-up attacks. The Pegasus Carrot is effective against armor, so definitely intended to counter those enemies, but the condition is that she has weapon triangle advantage. So in her case, again, it would be just towards, I think I said blues. It would be towards green. So any green armors that are out there, this is her answer to those units. So for one thing, I'm not really in love with Paula being forced into this role of taking advantage of the weapon triangle. I mean, she came with a ruby sword in her first, her original vanilla version. Her weapon refinement further emphasized the weapon triangle advantage. And then further still, the Pegasus Carrot has this condition of weapon triangle advantage. It's definitely very interesting that it neutralizes status effects. I kind of want to see that play out a little bit more. Does that mean that her in-combat debuffs will be neutralized when she's attacking, when she has color advantage? So when she's attacking a green enemy? Does that mean that if she's attacked and a status effect would normally affect her, like she's hit with something that would normally debuff her, debuff one of her stats, debuff her movement, anything like that, that those are neutralized? It's not 100% clear based on that. We'll have to, do a little bit of digging and see when she actually comes out. It's also interesting to note that she has weapon triangle advantage condition on a weapon that's most normally and most commonly seen on a colorless ally. So on a colorless unit, the vast majority of dagger units in the game are colorless. They have introduced a whole number of colored dagger units in the last number of seasonal banners, but all the same, it's just sort of interesting that it has that condition. Basically, this weapon, or at least that condition of the weapon, that effect of the weapon is completely useless on colorless dagger units. So certainly an interesting weapon, definitely balanced. You like to see both the give and the take, the pro and the con. It has its uses. It can be very potent in certain situations, but it's not incredibly powerful. And as for a generalist dagger user, there are a lot of better options out there, I would say. Draconic Aura, always a solid choice for the special when you're dealing with emblem teams that have access to those in-combat buffs, those hones and those goads. Swift Sparrow 2, definitely continues to be a great player phase A-slot skill. grants attack and speed +4 when they initiate combat. Alright, this is interesting. Disarm Trap 3. When attacking an ether raids, if unit ends movement on a space with a bolt or heavy trap, cancels the trap effect. That's actually really interesting. So it's an ether raid specific skill. It's a B slot skill, so it's B slots are incredibly competitive depending on the stat lines of your units. A lot of units really rely on that B slot. We're seeing trap nullification here. Something that I would like to highlight is that it doesn't just say if unit ends movement on a trap, cancels the trap's effect. It actually says bolt trap or a heavy trap, which implies that they're not planning on adding additional traps down the line. Of course, they could just update the description later, so I guess it's not that big of a deal, but at least for the time being, it doesn't seem like they're planning on adding any additional traps anytime soon. Like I said, the B-slot skill is just so competitive, so I really can't imagine a lot of people are going to be using this. And while traps can be a huge nuisance, and in some instances be a huge crippling component to an ether raid defense map, I don't know how often people are going to be using this skill to disable traps specifically. I suppose if you're going to be using a mythic hero regularly in ether raids, depending on when they're a bonus unit, you may consider slapping Disarm Trap on them, just if they're going to be a utility unit for ether raids, so they can provide that additional utility. And there will be instances in which it'll probably save your hide. So it's an interesting skill. I don't see anybody putting this on their more powerful units because, again, the B slot is just so important. So Hone Flyers for the C slot. The Hone skills are still incredibly powerful. Hone Flyers has been in the game since day one, but it is still powerful to today. Obviously, people have more ways of getting to Hone Flyers now, a free way of getting to Hone Flyers now with Hot Springs Camilla, but having more units out there with Hone Flyers is never a bad thing. So she has a pretty decked out kit. I mean, a lot of really powerful skills here, a very unique utility skill, and a weapon that has sort of a specific role to play on a team, especially for ether raids, I would say. So let's keep going along with this. I'm excited for Paula. I think she looks great, at least. Depending on what her stat line is. Okay. Alright, so next up we do have the Crimson Rabbit Marisa.
If this outfit isn't good for fighting, I'll have
I love how
to
awkward
hop
she
away.
is. Okay, so she's a Flying Lance user. Let's pause here. So she is a Flying Lancer. There are a lot of Flying Lancers in the game, so it is a pretty stacked and competitive position in a team. A lot of choices for people to have. So she really has to bring something to the table to encourage people to pull for her other than, her cute art. Flashing Carrot Plus is our weapon. It's a 14 might weapon. At the start of combat, if foe's HP is 100%, grants attack speed, defense, res +2 during combat. So honestly, a little disappointing. The HP threshold or the HP condition is actually a little bit difficult to meet, especially with all of these skills requiring a certain HP condition below 100%. And the +2 to all stats is pretty good. It works on both phases, on both player phase and enemy phase, but it's not crazy. I mean, it's not outrageous, and again, the condition is something that is going to be very, very easy to get nullified on you. So honestly, I don't know if you're going to be seeing a ton of Flashing Carrot Plus use out there. It is nice that it works on both player phase and enemy phase, so for a generalist, it can be used on both phases for a mixed phase unit and mixed phase builds, but for a mixed phase build and for mixed phase units, they have better and more potent lance options. Reposition for the assist. Reposition is always going to be a tried and true, so nothing wrong with that. Speed Defense Link 3 for the B slot. If movement assist skill, like reposition, shove, etc., is used by unit or targets the unit, grants speed and defense +6 for unit and target ally, or unit and targeting ally for 1 turn. So we're seeing these link skills getting entered more and more into the game. Speed and defense in particular implies really good for a mixed phase or a more enemy phase tanking unit. I do like the link skills. I think they are pretty useful and can lead to some creative plays. At the same time, they are activated skills, which means that for a flyer like Marisa, on any team that has Hone Flyers or Fortify Flyers, that role is going to be taken care of for the most part. So limited utility there, but still it's nice to see an expansion of those skills. Flyer Guidance 3 for the C slot. Flying allies within 2 spaces can move to a space adjacent to the unit. Flyer Guidance in general is amazing for ether raids, ether raid defense. Just in general, if you're using a flyer team to add and increase the mobility of your team as a whole. as well as the range of your units. It's just an incredibly powerful asset, so it's definitely worth having Flyer Guidance. Of course, at this point we have Flyer Guidance as a seal, but in certain instances you may want to use another seal on your unit that you also want to have Guidance. So it's nice to have it available for you if you need to use it. But all that being said, Marisa's skill set and her weapon are a little underwhelming, especially for a Flying Lancer. Like I mentioned, Flying Lancers being kind of a saturated pool, so again, she's going up against some stiff competition, not even from Flying Lancers, but just Lancers in general, and so, her skills are pretty good, but nothing crazy, nothing that I think people would really be screaming to pull for other than if they're fans of Marisa and really like her art. Which, by the way, let's keep going with this. Let's take a look at her attacking art. It's very cute, I will say. And her weapon does look nice. Okay, so Masked Hare, we are going to get Bruno.
It is a blessing.
So the first version of Bruno that we're going to get in the game is Spring Bruno. Let's pause here. So Ovoid Staff Plus. So it is an inheritable staff. 12 might. At start of turn restores 7 HP to unit and adjacent allies. Okay, so sort of a passive support effect. That's not bad for a staff user. Of course, depending on the stat line, Bruno can still be offensive oriented. Of course, you can still, any stave can be refined for the Wrathful Refinement or the Dazzling Refinement, either way. So, certainly, despite the fact that his staff is more suited to a support role, that doesn't mean that he can't, do some damage on the battlefield. Martyr Plus is an excellent healing skill for healers out there. Restore HP equal to damage dealt to unit plus 50% of attack. So that kind of leads us to believe that he might have some pretty decent attack stat, which might make him a great candidate, like I said, for the Wrathful Refinement. Miracle for the special. If unit's HP is greater than 1, foe would reduce the unit to 0. Unit survives with 1 HP. Miracle is getting more and more useful, I will say, as the game progresses. I've seen it in both Ether raids and just in general. And of course, you've seen me if you've ever watched one of my Abyssal runs for a Legendary Hero battle with Camilla Emblem. Miracle does come up every now and again, and it really does come in clutch. Alright, so attack, defense, push 3 for the A slot. So we're seeing more of the push skills that were introduced way back. At start of combat, if unit's HP is equal to 100%, grants attack, defense plus 5, but if unit attack, deals 1 damage to unit after combat. That synergizes pretty well with the Ovoid Staff, especially since I already tell he has Dazzling Staff 3 for the B slot, which means that foes can't counterattack him unless you're Nyla, who has that Null Disrupt skill. But what that means is that as long as he's not counterattacked, his attack, defense, push 3 is guaranteed to come into effect, essentially, because he'll take 1 damage after the attack, defense, push 3 comes into play and he attacks. And then the following turn, Ovoid Staff will heal that 1 HP. So he'll effectively always have the attack defense boost from his A slot, as long as he's not encountering or tanking damage or initiating against a Nyla or somebody with Nyla's skill. So let's keep going. Bruno finally in the game and looking very classy. I do like the little egg and flower effect there. Okay, so we've got Spring Princess, Veronica. Like I said, I am a rabbit. She has the long ears, the long floppy ears. Okay, so let's pause here. Alright, so Vetter Folnir's Egg, 14 might. So it's not going to be an inheritable tome. Grants speed plus 3. At start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 75%, grants attack, speed, defense, rest plus 4 during combat. Really? I was just talking about how Marisa's weapon was a little lackluster with the condition that it had. Vetter Folnir's Egg, which obviously is not an inheritable weapon, so you would expect it to be better, but it really is just better, because as long as her health is greater than 75%, she's going to get a boost to 4 to all of her stats, which is significant, and she gets plus 3 to her speed automatically. So that is very good. It is, of course, important to note that this HP condition completely clashes with B-slot skills like Vantage and Desperation. So those are 2 very popular B-slot skills with very common HP conditions. Vetter Folnir's Egg's condition runs completely incongruent to that. So you do want to be mindful of that. Glimmer for the special. Okay, so green dual flying 3 for the A slot. We're seeing these skills slowly trickle in. I think I've explained how I feel about the dual flying skills. I think it's just a patchwork solution to an inherently and innately flawed game mode, but be that as it may, they're going to continue introducing these skills until they have every single movement type and color covered, and this is just another one to the batch. I wouldn't mind having this for regular Camilla and potentially even Spring Camilla. The primary issue being that both Spring Camilla and Vanilla Camilla are kind of reliant on their A-slot skills, being Distant Counter and Triangle Adept, at least in the roles that I have them on for Arena. So, but all the same, it is an option available. Chill Res 3 for the B-slot. Chill skills are always great. So this is no exception to that. Chill Res 3 is going to have its uses in debuffing, having a map-wide debuff and debuffing at least one unit on the enemy team with the highest res. It is interesting to know that while Veronica is the only one in this match that has a legendary weapon, she doesn't have a full kit, which is kind of unusual, but she does have premium skills. The dual flying skill is going to be a premium skill. The chill skills, premium skill. So certainly good to pull for if you want one of those skills, and her tome is actually very, very powerful. You just work around that HP condition, which is very, very easy to do. She just can't utilize some of those skills that have HP thresholds. So let's keep going.
Fuzzy creature.
Fuzzy creature. The animation's pretty cool. Okay. So Regal Rabbits, the paralogue story. Very exciting. I think the art on this banner is pretty darn good. And we are getting another Loki, apparently, so we'll have to see what that's all about. Like I said before, I always watch these blind. I don't go on the Reddit, and I don't look at the in-game notes, so I don't see what the character is revealed and how we're going to get her. So I'm not entirely sure. She could be a Tempest Trial reward. We'll just have to see. That's kind of where my money is. With seasonal banners, we often see the Tempest Trials come into play, and then for new heroes, we see Forging Bonds. So that's kind of been how Intelligent Systems has been introducing the characters and having like a little story along with it. In addition to, of course, just the regular paralogue stories and the main storylines. Okay, well, for the banner as a whole, if you like flyers, there's a lot to love here. And then bringing up the rear with Bruno as a cavalry healer, you really can't have too many cavalry healers. Cavalry healers are always going to be useful, given their utility, not just with healing, but of course with the Wrathful and Dazzling combo and all of the debuffs, as well as the Savage Blows and everything else that they can offer, especially in game modes like Ether Raids. The three flyers here look great. I think Mayo did a great job on Palla. I think Paula looks amazing. Marisa looks great. I think in terms of skill set, there aren't really any slam dunks here. Paula probably has the most overall well-rounded skills of the batch. So in terms of just out-of-the-gate utility, I think Paula has a lot going for her, and certainly if you need to swap certain skills, or if you pull her and need to use her as skill fodder, you'll find a place for her, because she comes with some great skills as well. Of course, Paula is also a flying red dagger unit, which is an incredibly rare combination in the game, so she has that going for her as well. For me personally, I'm definitely going to be pulling on this banner. I don't know how far I'm going to be going. I would like to target Marisa and Paula if I could. I'd like to get both of them if possible. I mentioned earlier that with the introduction of this spring banner, it's very likely that we're going to be getting two other concurrent spring banners from last year and the previous year as well. If that is the case, then Spring Camilla is going to be reintroduced into a banner during this period of time, which means that it's a prime opportunity for me to get merges for my Spring Camilla. So that being said, I don't know how hard I'm going to be going in on this banner, but I probably am going to be spending a good number of orbs for the spring banners in general. So let me know in the comments below what you thought, if you're excited about these units, if you called Marisa or Paula. Like I said, I think a lot of people were thinking Erica or Ira, but I am happy to see that Paula's on the banner and to see her getting some representation in the game. If you end up pulling for these units, I wish you the best of luck. I hope you get all of those units that you're looking for, whether it's this spring banner or any of the previous spring banners. And of course, getting a free Flying Loki is amazing. I am very excited about that as well. They've been kind of on a roll and giving us really cool and unique free units. So I'm looking forward to that. So let me know in the comments below who you're going to be targeting. So I think that's going to do it. Hopefully you enjoyed watching the trailer for the first time with us. If you did, please feel free to leave us a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more Fire Emblem Heroes content. We thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and watching the trailer with us. We really, really do appreciate it. And until next time, let's protect those skies.